Hi students, this is AJ sir. Let's study 9th standard ICSE Math, chapter 26, coordinate geometry, exercises A and B. And to enroll for my online test series or online lectures, email me or message me on Instagram. Check the description for more information. Now in 26A exercise, we have to identify the dependent and independent variables. Here, the variable on the LHS, which is alone, is called the dependent variable, whereas this x is independent for this equation. This is because as the value of x changes, the value of y will correspondingly change. The value of y is dependent on the value of x. That is why in this format, y becomes the dependent variable. Note that if I take the LCM, cross multiply, rearrange the terms, I can get x alone in this form, x on the LHS. In that case, x will become dependent and here y is independent. Similarly here, x is dependent, y is independent. Here y is dependent and x is independent. Now questions 2, 3, 4 may be cancelled by you to reduce your homework because they are very easy and it's just a revision of the basics, which I'm assuming you already know. Question 5, true or false? The ordinate of a point is its x coordinate. That's false. The x coordinate, so for example here in this point 9 comma minus 9, 9 is called the x coordinate, which is also called abscissa, and minus 9 is the y coordinate, which is also called ordinate. The origin is in the first quadrant. That is also false. This is the first quadrant, first, second, third, fourth. First quadrant means both the numbers have to be positive. Origin does not lie in any quadrant. It is right at the intersection of the two axes. The y-axis is a vertical number line. That's true. Every point is located in one of the 4 quadrants. Well, I just showed how that is not true. For example, this point B is not in any quadrant. It is on the x-axis. In fact, its point is, it's between 4 and 6, so that's 5. So the x coordinate is 5 and the y coordinate is 0. So remember, any point lying on the x-axis will always have the y coordinate 0. Any point whose y coordinate is 0 means that it is lying on the x-axis. And the converse is also true. If any point lies on the y-axis, its x coordinate will be 0. Now the fifth, true or false, if the ordinate, that is the y coordinate, is equal to its abscissa, the point lies either in the first quadrant or in the second quadrant. If you look here, this is the first quadrant and second quadrant. If x and y coordinates are exactly same, like 2, 2 or minus 2, minus 2, they will either lie in the first quadrant or the third quadrant, not in the second quadrant. So that statement was false. Sixth, the origin lies on the x-axis. Yes, true. It lies on both x and y-axis. Seventh, the point A, B lies on the y-axis if B is 0. Well, if B is 0 means the y coordinate is 0, that means it will lie on the x-axis, not on the y-axis. So this is false. Now the sixth question, cancel Roman number 1 because it's of the same type. We'll do Roman number 2 now. So 2 equations have been given and they've asked us to solve these 2 equations. This has unknown variable A and this has unknown variable B. We can solve this and get the value of A. We can solve this and get the value of B separately. And then they said find the point whose abscissa or x coordinate is the solution of the first equation. So whatever answer we get of A, that is the x coordinate, and whatever answer we get for B is the y coordinate, also called ordinate. So that's how we can find the point. So here's the solution. Write the heading 26A, solve the sum with pencil so that the impression doesn't come on the next page where we have to draw the graph. Yes, do everything in the graph book itself. Write the proper question number. We solve one equation, get the value of A, solve the other equation, get the value of B. And so the answer is 6,2. That's it. Now, cancel the 7th sum. 8th sum is IMP. 3 points have been given. It's a parallelogram, so find the 4th point. Okay. Always write on graph paper. So here I've drawn the x axis and the y axis with the ruler. If your school teacher asks you to write the scale, then do that. That is 1 centimeter is equal to 1 unit on both the axes. Sometimes it could be 2 centimeters is equal to 1 unit on both the axes. Till what number should we write? Well, that depends on the points given. Now I saw the points and I saw that the biggest number was B 8,2. So I knew that I have to go till 8. But here I need not have gone till -6 and I could have saved my time. Here I knew that I don't have to write more than 4 and -4, so I stopped there. Points A, B and C were given. Point A is -2,2, -2,2, -2,2. That is -2 is the x coordinate and 2 is the y coordinate. So how to plot a point? We've studied this in lower standards. -2 is the x coordinate, so first locate on the x axis. Here we go, -2. Comma 2 is the y coordinate, so locate that on the y axis here. And now draw a perpendicular line to x axis, not literally, just in your mind, and draw a perpendicular line at 2 for the y axis. And where do they meet? Here, so that is -2,2. So please practice plotting of points on your own. Do not just copy these points from the video. Try, understand the method, then plot it on your own. You need training to avoid silly mistakes. It's a very scoring chapter. So plotted points A, B and C. It's a parallelogram. So how did I get this point D? Don't just copy it. Think about it first. This was not given in the question. Well, if you notice, the distance between A and B is 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, 4 box, 5 boxes. So definitely from C, I should go 5 boxes to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how I located point D. So then I locate it, then you join them. So it looks like a parallelogram. Opposite sides are parallel and equal. And what is the coordinates of D? Come on, you figure it out and tell me. Well, it's -6, always x coordinate first, -6, comma 4. So those are the coordinates of D, -6. I'm sorry, -4. Yes, it's negative. I couldn't see the minus sign here. Minus. So -6, comma -4. Next, they want the midpoint of AB. Now, how do I do that? Well, count the number of boxes first of all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes are there. So half of that is 2.5 boxes. So 1 box, 2 box and 2.5 box. Check again. 1 box, 2 boxes and 2.5 box. So this is the midpoint. And they want the coordinates of that. Well, that's 3 and 2. So the midpoint of AB is 3,2. Similarly of DC, 1 box, 2 box and 2.5 boxes, that's -1, -4. So the midpoint of DC is -1, -4. So the answers you always write in the theory paper, and the graph is on graph paper, so mention on graph paper. Even in exam, do that. And question number should be mentioned on the theory paper as well as on the graph paper. Question number should be mentioned along with sub question number. If this is missing, you will not get any marks for the graph. And don't write it on the left hand or right hand side margin, write it in the center only. So mark this 8th sum as IMP. Now the 10th sum. By plotting the following points on the same graph paper, check whether they are collinear or not. Okay, I have not plotted it yet. Draw a separate graph paper, graph on a graph paper, separate graph paper, and do this sum. I'm doing this on the on top of this 13th sum itself, but you don't do it together. First point is 3, 5. So 3, 5. Here it is. So next 1, 1. Okay, 1, 1. Here it is. And then 0, minus 1. 0 on x-axis, minus 1 on y-axis. So yeah, since the x coordinate was 0, I knew that it would lie on the y-axis. And now they've asked us to check if these points are collinear, which means do they lie on the same straight line. So just keep a ruler and check it. Nope. These 2 points and these 2 points. So these 3 points are not collinear. So in the theory you will write question 10 and Roman number 1, they are not collinear. You can do 10.2 on the same graph. It's okay. Next, the 13th sum. Cancel the 12th sum. No need to do that. I'm trying to reduce your homework as much as possible. So O is the origin and OA is 10 units along the x-axis. So they said OA is 10 units. So we are going to assume that it's positive 10 units. So we'll just stick to the right hand side for this sum. I should have shifted the y-axis a little bit to the left because this part is not of no use in this sum. Anyway, so I just got the number 10 at the margin, so I marked this as point A, 10 units from the origin on the x-axis. Next they said AB is of 8 units, so that's point B, 8 units. This is point 10, 8 by the way. Now what about point C? Well, if it's a rectangle and if this is O, A and B, obviously C has to be out here, then only it's a rectangle. So the coordinates of C are 0, 8. If it's lying on the y-axis, the x coordinate is 0. And if this is lying on the x-axis, the y coordinate is 0. So what are the points? What are the coordinates of these points? It's 10, 0. So that's how you get the answer. By the way, when they said AB is 8 units, I could have taken a negative 8 units here and got the values of B dash and C dash as well. Although behind the textbook these values are not given, still I'm going to mention it when I solve it. So I'll get 2 values of B point and C points. It may not be compulsory for you to write both the answers, but you can just cross check with your school teacher what she wants or he wants. So with this, A exercise is over. Now the B exercise. Here, question 1, let's do Roman number 2, 7 and 9, which are very easy. Cancel Roman number 9. Yeah, we are going to do 11 sum. So cancel Roman number 9 and cancel Roman number 8 and also cancel Roman number 4. If you wish to do them, you can, but for homework, it's okay if you don't do these because it's very easy and of the same type. So now remember, whenever the equation is x is equal to 3 or x is equal to something, positive or negative, that line will be parallel to the y-axis. And if the equation is y is equal to something, for example, y minus 2 is what? If you shift minus 2, it becomes y is equal to 2. So such a line or such an equation will be parallel to the x-axis. So what about y plus 6 is equal to 0? That will be y is equal to minus 6. So that line will be parallel to the x-axis, or you can even say perpendicular to the y-axis. So there is no solving involved here. You just have to plot the points. For example, Roman number 2. If x plus 3 is equal to 0 is the equation, that means the equation is x is equal to minus 3. And as I told you, if the equation is x is equal to something, then it has to be parallel to the y-axis. So that's why I drew a line parallel to the y-axis, use ruler, and it should be exactly on the green line. I should not be able to see a double line here. It should be sharp. Always write x, x dash, y, y dash. So that's the equation. Next, Roman number 7. Y minus 2 is equal to 0. That is y is equal to 2. So it has to be parallel to the x-axis, passing through point 2. So here's a line. And Roman number 11 is interesting. X is equal to 0. When they say x is equal to 0 means parallel to the y-axis and passing through 0. Passing through 0 means actually it is the y-axis itself. So now tell me, what is the equation of the x-axis by this logic? Yes, it is y is equal to 0. Next, cancel question 2 entirely. Wow, so many cancellations I'm giving you. And even in question 3, cancel Roman number 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. All easy. But hey, you're doing solved examples, so that should be sufficient practice for you. Now we'll do Roman number 5 and then Roman number 7. Roman number 5, the equation is given. We have to plot it. For plotting, I need at least 3 points. So first make sure that there is a clear dependent variable. I want y alone, or x alone is also fine, but let's always stick to y alone. Make a table, x, y and x comma y, which we have to plot. We'll take various values of x. So these values we will decide, and we'll calculate to get the values of y, and then we'll plot x comma y on the graph sheet. Make sure you write the question number here. Now what is interesting here is, since this is a fraction, no matter what value of x we take, y's value will also be in fraction. It will be a decimal value. So starting with x is equal to 0, substitute it in the equation, and value of y is 2 upon 3, that is 0.66. X is equal to 2, substitute, 2 cut, 3 plus 2 root 3 is 3 to root 3. That's right, even if you do LCM and all, you'll get the same answer. So that's the point to be plotted. Now I could have taken x as 4 as well. And yeah, please take it as 4 and multiples of 2, because only then will it be cut by this 2 number in the denominator. If I take it as 3, then you'll get a very unplottable number. So I'll take it as minus 2, but so 2 and 2 gets cancelled. 3 into minus 1 is minus 3. Now what is minus 3 plus 2 upon 3? Here we'll have to do LCM method. So upon 1, so into 3, that's minus 9 plus 2 upon 3, minus 7 upon 3. This is what you have to plot. Mixed fraction, minus 2 1 upon 3, that is minus 2.33. So that's how I get my 3 points to be plotted. Now how will you plot a decimal number? Now let's plot these points. So 0, 2 upon 3, since x coordinate is 0, obviously it will lie on the y-axis, and 2 upon 3 is 0.66 or 67. So 0, 0.66, so 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. So between 0.6 and 0.7 I have plotted this point. Next, 2, 3, 2 upon 3, that is 3.67. So 2 and 3.67, that's 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, somewhere in between, and here's the point to be plotted. Similarly, minus 2, minus 2, 1 upon 3. So if you look at the calculations here, I had taken x as minus 2 so that it can get cancelled. I could have taken x as 4 as well, but I didn't. We can't take x as 3. Please take a multiple of 2. Look at the denominator, that is 2, so take a multiple of that. Here you'll have to do LCM and solve it. and you'll get the answer as minus 2 1 upon 3 or minus 2.33. Minus 2.33 is what I have to plot as a y coordinate. So minus 2 comma minus 2.33, so minus 2 from the x-axis and minus 2.33 from the y-axis, and that's the point. Ignore this one. So when you join this line, when you join these points, the line is the equation. Always write the equation in the graph, the original equation always, y is equal to 3 upon 2x plus 2 upon 3. So that's how you plot a graph. And of course, always mention on graph paper. Next, 3.7 is IMP. Now, always convert the equation into a simple format. So first do LCM, get rid of the denominator, rearrange the terms. I want x alone. Actually, always get y alone. That will be easy. But just to show you what happens when x is alone, try this sum with x as the dependent variable. So here we'll have to decide the values of y and calculate the values of x. So this is the equation we're going to use. So when y, I took it as 0, x's value came up to be 4. So please fill in the table very carefully. Y is 0 and x is 4, but the point is 4 comma 0. Don't be confused here. Next, let's take y as 2. Yes, the denominator is 2, so I have to take multiples of 2, or rather the difference between this valid number and the next number should be 2. So I can take 2, 4, even minus 2 is fine, because the difference is always a multiple of 2. So I took y as 2 now, and I got the value of x as 7. It's quite big. So the point to be plotted is 7 comma 2, and the third number is always required in every sum. So y, I took it as minus 2. I could have taken as 4 as well, but if I took it as 4, it will become 3 into 4, 12 plus 8, 20 upon 2 is 10. That's too big a number to plot. So to be on the safer side, I took it as minus 2, and I got x's value as 1. So the point to be plotted is 1 comma minus 2. So always make a table which makes it so easy for you to solve ahead. 4 comma 0 plotted here. Since the y coordinate is 0, obviously it lies on the x-axis. 7 comma 2 plotted, and 1 comma minus 2 also plotted. Then join the points with a ruler. They have to be collinear, absolutely, only then the sum is right. And write the equation, of course. Write the question number, no doubt, and on graph paper. X, x dash, y, y dash also. So that was an IMP sum. Now in question 4, cancel Roman number 1 and Roman number 2. Since it's the same type of sum, do 4.4 for homework. Cancel 4.3 as well. So 4.4 is for homework. Now let's do the fifth sum. Here, mark it as IMP, and 5.2 is what I'm going to solve. So the equation is given. I'm going to solve it and rearrange it, and I want y alone. So always stick to y alone. Make it the dependent variable. Make a table. Take the values of x. Start with 0, of course, but it may or may not work. Sometimes if it gives a very weird fraction value of y, then don't stick to it. Try other options as well. 1, 2, minus 1, minus 2. And then the denominator is 3. So once you get a valid value, then the next values will always be multiples of the difference between this number and the next should be multiples of 3. I could have taken this as 6 as well, but I chose minus 3. So by calculating, get the values of y and fill in the table, and then you got 3 points to plot. So plot the 3 points. You know how to plot. Join them, and that's the equation. Next, the sixth sum, 6.1 and 6.2. We have to decide if they are parallel or perpendicular. First of all, whenever you see that the equations are quite similar, only the constant term is different, that means it has to be parallel. Let's confirm this. So you got two equations. I'm solving them side by side. Get y alone, it's already alone, fine. Take 3 values of x, solve them and get the values of y respectively, substitute those values. Now we got 3 points and 3 points, 6 points totally. So first plot these 3 points. Don't do all 6 points together. First plot 3 points and join them to form a line and write the equation. Then plot the next 3 points and draw a line. And now you see they are exactly parallel because they will never meet. On the other hand, in 6.3, if you look at these two equations, so again you will solve them. So this equation I solved, got y alone. Then I took 3 values of x. Note that I saw that the denominator is 3, so I chose the values of x accordingly. If you don't, then you will get a fractional value of y, which is very difficult to plot and not very accurate. So I got 3 points of x, and here again just simplify it, do LCM, write in the standard form, y is equal to this, denominator is 2 here, so 0 works, so the next value is over 2 and minus 2. Now plot these 3 points as well. So after plotting the points, I got the 2 graphs. Interestingly, they are intersecting at a point. If you would have solved these 2 equations simultaneously by simultaneous equations method, you would have got the same answer, which is 2.15, 0.25, something like that you would have got. So this is something we'll study in the next chapter, how to solve 2 equations graphically rather than algebraically through simultaneous equations. Also, if I ask you, where does this equation cut, or where does this line cut or intersect the y-axis? Well, that point is this. And what are the coordinates of this point? It's lying on the y-axis, so the x-coordinate is 0. So it's 3, 0. So such questions can also be asked, which is asked in question 4. Clearly, if you check it with a protractor, you will see it's 90 degrees. So write the final answer, therefore they are perpendicular. And now the last sum, the 11th sum, mark it as IMP. Drawing this graph is very easy. It's the usual method. Get the equation of y, take 3 points. Note that I have not taken 0 in this case. I have taken 8. I'll tell you the reason soon. But I got 3 points and I plotted them. And I got my straight line here. And I wrote the equation name as well. Now, Roman number 1 says, if the value of x is 4, what is the value of y? Well, if the value of x is 4, then the value of y is 0. In fact, that is one of the points I had already taken, coincidentally. So I will just write the answer when x is equal to 4, y is equal to 0. Now, Roman number 2 is what happens when x is equal to 0. So that's why I didn't take 0 here. I took a different value, although it was not necessary for me to do so. But now, without having that point plotted, can I find the answer? Let's check. X is equal to 0. So on the x-axis, x is 0 is here. So what is the value on the y-axis? It is minus 3. So the answer is minus 3. Now for more practice, let me ask you a few more questions. Ready? In the same equation, by the way, if you don't want to solve it graphically, you could have simply substituted the value of x in this equation and solved to get the value of y. But they have mentioned solve graphically. So here we go. In the same equation, let y's value be minus 1. Y's value is minus 1. So what is the value of x? Okay, y's value is minus 1. So on the y-axis, here it is minus 1. So with my ruler, let me draw a line, a horizontal line, till it cuts the graph. And now at the point of intersection, let me draw a vertical line till it cuts the x-axis. So now this will give me the value of x. So when y is equal to minus 1, x is equal to 2.2, 2.4, 2.6, 2.7, between 2.6 and 2.7, 2.65. In exam, of course, they will not give you such a question where the answer is in decimal, but you should be aware of this. Now, next question. What is the value of y when the x value is minus 2 again? So on x-axis, where is minus 2? Here it is. So draw a line so that it cuts the equation. Now from that point of intersection, so the value of y seems to be here, which is between 4.2, 4.4, approximately 4 minus 4.4. That's right, minus sign is there. Minus 4.4 is the answer. So now you know how to solve such sums.